Hey, so since I got my new computer, it's been rebooting randomly. Usually it would only happen within the first like 5 minutes of when I start the computer. And if I could get things going at that point, I don't know if anybody can hear me. Because I don't have the chats open. YouTube is going to have to refresh. It's going to create a new YouTube stream. So yeah, my computer's been doing this weird thing lately where every time I start it up, there's a non-zero chance it reboots in the first like 5 minutes. And if I can get it going past 5 minutes, it was usually good. This is the first time it's been turned on for a while and then it died again. So now the risk is that the new stream, the computer hasn't been up for more than 5 minutes, so it might die again. Although, I don't know anything about Windows troubleshooting these days. If this was a Linux box, I would know where on the logs to look. Where are the Windows logs for stuff like that these days? Is there a log viewer? Okay, we've got to get this stuff done. This is what I was planning on getting built yesterday night. And then during the day today. And event viewer is a thing that exists in Windows. Okay, would that say, like, what happened if there was a kernel panic or something? Because that's what I'm looking for. Like, hey, did a driver die? Okay, I don't want to go to a tutorial on YouTube because I can't listen to it while I'm working on this. Okay. So we're going to open up event viewer. Okay. Then Windows logs. System, maybe? Let's see. It would have been information, kernel general. Well, wait, there was a... That was probably when I logged back in. So this is after it crashed. Now, of course, there's a million things. Apparently it's having some sort of... Oh. Okay. I wonder if this is it. Some sort of power management thing in the kernel. What is this? Source. That's an information. There's a warning. Hello, face software driver. Failed to load. 903. Critical power. The system rebooted without cleanly shutting down first. So we actually need everything before that. Hold on. Error. Previous system shutdown was unexpected. So this is the kernel booting. Okay. Okay, the operating system restarted at 9:03:55. So something presumably happened. Oh, the display driver stopped responding immediately beforehand. So it looks like it was the display driver that crashed. Okay. NV, LDD, MKM stopped responding. And it says, and successfully recovered, which is why the computer stayed on, I guess. And so I say it rebooted. It required a reboot, basically. Because, like, basically the whole machine went dead. My PSU is 850 watts, so it should be good enough. But it is getting up there in age. I actually ordered a new power supply because my 850 watt power supply is from 2012. And I was like, now that it's a decade old and I just got a new GPU, it could die at some point. But my plan was to wait until I get the next episode out. And then the day I upload episode, I guess it would be 7. Since I don't usually do a lot of recording on the day of a new upload, my plan was to pull out the old power supply and put in the new one. I got a 3080 Ti. But, yeah. So, So if I can get a few more days out of this before I do the power supply swap, then I can get my next episode out on time. If I can't, then my next episode is going to feel like it is starting late, which is because like we have really strong momentum right now. Like we had 2 really good episodes come out in like 2 days. And now I really want to have the next one come out in a reasonable amount of time. I don't want to have a 10-day gap or something silly, you know? But because like to actually swap out the power supply, I've got to unplug the motherboard and a bunch of other things. Yeah, so it's a Ryzen 3900X 12-core processor and a 3080 Ti. But like I said, it's an 850 watt. That feels like it should be enough. But like I said, maybe it's because it's the it's a 10-year-old power supply, and so, you know, dang it. Yeah, hot swapping power supplies is not easy. Cub didn't raid. That's fine because my computer crashed, and I don't need him to raid when the computer crashes. Okay. So, Mr. Lance says it could be that when the GPU ramps up power, it can't handle a surge. That's also possible. Okay. Well, we have something to try. Also, when the camera came back, it had wiped all my camera settings. I had to reset the white balance and the focus and stuff. No, it was not a scheduled reboot. I know that, because there were a bunch of errors in the event viewer that were like, this was not a scheduled reboot. The system has recovered from a reboot. That sort of thing. Okay. So, Wordle 266. Worst case, I can always do this Wordle building part on my laptop, although I can't really stream it very well. But I can... It's not going to completely kill my progress on the new episode if I have to do that. But I'd really rather not. Okay, so this is Wordle 266, 5 out of 6. That's going to go on the third one here. Okay. The other thing about the power ramp issue is, like, I did a burn-in test running Folding at home for, like, 12 hours straight when I first installed it, and everything was fine. So, yeah. It's always something. Okay, so we got our first Wordle in. Let's put maybe another one down here. That feels right. Have this one be a little lower. And it's going to be Wordle 267 is the next one. Did I download the NVIDIA driver application? I downloaded the NVIDIA driver installer from NVIDIA, but I told it not to install the application, just to install the driver. There's like an NVIDIA settings thing that installed anyway, though. I'm running Game Ready driver 5.12.15. I don't know if that's the latest. But yeah, 5.12.15 is what I'm running. Should look at the error code. Well, it didn't really seem to have like a, well, maybe it did. Is there an actual error code there? It just says display driver NVLDD MKM stopped responding and has successfully recovered, but the event ID, there's no error code that I can see here. It has a, you know. And then there's 2 distributed COM problems after that before the reboot. There's a bunch of stuff about the background intelligence transfer service demand. I don't know what that is. Okay, well, we're not getting anything done doing this. So let's just work on the thing we're doing. Ah, it's getting dark already. .5.15 is the latest GForce update as of 3.22, says George Harris. Yeah, so I should have the... Then I have the latest one running. Hey, we got a tip rolling in from Emily, who tips 5 and says, Happy Monday, Joe. Hope your Monday was better than mine. It was pretty good on the whole. I got a lot done this morning. I published a new newsletter on my website. If you like reading newsletters about that Tommy boy getting promoted to community liaison in the Patreon community, you can read about that and the upcoming planning stuff there in that newsletter. But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff I want to do with the Patreon community, and it's offloading, responding to individual requests to Tommy will really ease things up on me. Basically, the idea is that if somebody has a request, Tommy puts it on the agenda for an upcoming meeting, and then we deal with it then, instead of me just kind of constantly answering questions. And then sometimes being too tired to do a good job explaining myself and then confusing everybody. So, yay. That's going to be a much better system. I am very excited about Tommy taking on that additional responsibility, because I want to do some stuff. We've got some upcoming server launches for the Patreon community, and I want to be focused on the fun parts of that. And also on keeping the YouTube stuff high momentum, since we had 2 great episodes in a row. And it'll also be easier on NJ, because NJ, people kept bringing stuff to NJ, and I was like, NJ, it's your job to help me project manage, not your job to community manage. I don't want to hear the feedback people give you. You're not on the clock to do that. And if you're not being paid for it, then I'm not going to listen when you tell it to me. So stop trying to tell me, and just tell people to stop telling you. And she's like, nobody will stop telling me. They keep telling me stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to listen, because it's not your job. And they have a problem. They need to do it through the proper channels. And it's like, well, we didn't really have well-defined proper channels other than stop DMing NJ. So now you can stop DMing NJ and post feedback in the appropriate place so that Tommy can make sure it's addressed in a timely fashion. Okay. But yeah, I even wrote NJ a little thing to copy and paste people who sent her unsolicited feedback. It's like, hey, can you tell Joe this? Like, my job is not to be a secretary. My job is to advise Joe on project management. That's not exactly what it was. It was something like that, though. Oh, this is interesting. There's a whole cool little cave down here. Big cave. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. So Wordle 260. So we did 266 and 267, so we're on 268 now. It was reminding me to change my skin. I don't have like a production manager. Ultimately, that would be a production manager's job, which we don't have yet. But the thing is,